This is Eyes Open Media. All right, let's talk about the Spring Valley High School, Columbus, South Carolina incident. You know, the SOR cop or whatever he was, security guard, armed security guard or whatever he was, who slammed that and dragged that black female student. You know, the headlines don't want to use the word black or bronze or whatever you want to call colored female student. They just say female student, you know, and they don't want to call him a Caucasian man either. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's crazy the response that is going on. We know Raven Simone on The View is saying some crazy, outlandish stuff, saying that the girls should have got off the phone. Like that is the response. Like being on the phone, you deserve to be, grabbed and dragged and slammed like that because you're on the phone. You know, if that, you see, and I'm not even going to get in the case of Raven Simone because I don't believe that is actually Raven Simone. I really don't think that's Raven Simone. And I've also heard several people that I know from the intel community of Hollywood that also have said the same thing. That is not Raven Simone. Looks like Raven Simone, talks like Raven Simone, but it's not Raven Simone. But that's a totally different issue. The question is, what this officer, this Caucasian officer or whatever, he's not colored. Just put it that way. I don't know his race. I don't know what he is, but he's not colored. Okay. Would this non-colored officer would he have done this if that girl was white? And I think that's the case everybody's missing because we don't see these officers doing this to white people. And I think there's something to that. There's something that these officers, these unarmed officers, these officers that are armed or unarmed, okay, they look at black people or colored people, the Mexicans, the Asians, Latinos, whatever you want to call them, Indians, Native Americans, they look at them differently for some reason. It's like, I don't know, some of you guys are probably been in the military or veterans just like myself, and it's come to the point where we actually see colored people and we think we have an advantage on them. We think they're slow, we think they're uneducated, we think we can actually put our hands on them and actually force our authority on them more than we can on the non-colored people, the Caucasians. When we look at Caucasians, we see educated, we think educated. If we mess with them, we're going to be in big trouble. And I think the Caucasian officers also think the same thing. It's not really like a respect factor because, you know, an officer is an officer. But in this case is, can I get in trouble or what type of limit do I have before public outroar or for me to get fired? And when an officer looks at a white person, especially a white female, that ceiling goes up to where if he does something wrong with this person, he could be fired. But when it's a black female or a black male, especially a black male, he says, I unless there's video evidence, I can basically do what I want with this person. My county, my state, and my department will back me up. Will make some false stories and say the Negro was coming after me or something. You see what I'm saying? And that's for all cops, and military members. That's how they're being taught and to think in the academies and in training. Okay, stay away from the pretty or the blonde-headed white girl, because if you do something to her or if she says something about you, you could be in very big trouble. But you know, when it comes to the black female or the black male or the Asian or the Mexican or the Latin male, you can do whatever you want. We'll cover it up, okay? And so we see here in this incident with this SOR officer here who just took the female, the black female, and just did not care about her life. Didn't care that she has family. Doesn't care that she has a mom or dad or anything. He didn't care about her situation. And I think she had lost one of her parents a couple of days ago. So she was very, very emotional, depressed, and whatever the case may be. She probably shouldn't have even been in class. But he didn't care about nothing like that. Also, the teacher, who was black male, didn't care about that situation either, because he's the one that called for help to get this woman out. Like her being on her phone was interrupting the class. But when you see the video, it's not interrupting the class. So there's, and I'm not sure if that black teacher knew that what was going on with her. And the why she was acting the way she was acting, but she wasn't like acting out. She was just on her phone. And when the cop or the officer, whoever this guy is, was dragging her and slamming her to the ground and all over the place, the teacher should have stepped in and said, "Hey, that is obsessive force. You're only here for a phone. You're only here to escort her out the building, out the room. That is a phone in her hand. That's it. You're using obsessive force, sir. Can you please do not do that to my student? I just need you to remove her from the classroom." But he did nothing. He stood right there, and he should be held accountable for standing there doing nothing and watching, because he's supposed to be protecting his students as well. As a teacher, you're supposed to protect your students. So he didn't even say nothing. And the question is, if that is a white girl sitting in there with blonde hair, blue eyes, that officer would never, ever put his hands on her hair, on her shoulders. He would never slam her. He would never drag her. He wouldn't do anything like that. He would ask her a million times. And then he'll probably call his supervisor in, and then they'll probably call the principal, and then they will escort her out safely and sound. That's what they would have done if it was a white female lady in that classroom sitting there with blonde hair and blue eyes. But why can't you do that for a black woman, that's sitting there? Why can't you have the same respect for other race? It's because they're not trained to. Okay, they're not trained to have the same respect for other race. Once he saw a black female sitting there, he knew that he could do whatever he wanted to do. Luckily, the one lady got caught it on camera and was videotaping it, and then she also apparently got suspended for videotaping it. I mean, outrageous. And the reason why the media is so outraged by this is because a Caucasian officer went in there and he's dragging a student, a black female, like a rag doll. Okay, and so the media is trying to cover up for their Caucasian people, and because it looks very bad, and so they have people like the puppets, like Raven Simone, and all these other people coming in and say, "Well, she shouldn't have been on the phone." But does being on the phone as a student in class or a student in college result in you being dragged and slammed by a security guard or a SOR police officer or whatever this guy was? No, it does not. It only gets you to be escorted out of the room. That's it, and out of the room. You don't have to be escorted out of the school because you're allowed to use the phone in the school. You just can't use the phone in the classroom. Okay, so the mainstream media is pushing this. Look, what you saw wasn't really what you saw. This officer really didn't slam her and throw her down and do all this stuff to her. This is not really what you saw because she was on the phone. And it's basically they're trying to say like white people aren't on the phone. You know what I mean? When I was in school, and I just graduated this year, so from college. So when I was in school, white people were on the phone all the time. And the teachers would have to say, put your phones away, please put your phones away. Okay. Black people were on the phone. Mexican people were on the phone. Latins were on the phone. Everybody is on the phone in school because it's college and we live in a world of technology. But it does not give you the right to call somebody in and drag and slam anybody on the ground, because all lives matter. Not just black lives matter, not just white lives, not just Mexicans and Latinos and Arabics and all that stuff. Every single life matters, especially a young student that still has a long future ahead of her, and now she's on this viral video that goes out. What industry now when is going to accept this woman into their business, because this video is going to destroy her life now? You see what I'm saying? She's controversial now. They're gonna label her controversial because she was on her phone and she was dragged and slammed by this officer, and somebody videotaped it and it went viral. You see what I'm saying? And this officer was fired, but he hasn't received any type of assault charges or anything yet that he's supposed to. So he's just been fired. And the reason why he only got fired is because the video went viral. If the video didn't go viral, this officer would still be working, because they do not care about black lives. They don't care about colored people's lives. They only care about white people's lives in America. And if a white person does something to a black person, if it does not go viral, those people do not get reprimanded. They actually get applauded for doing it. Okay, so the videos have to actually go viral for them to take action against a Caucasian man. And that's sad, because we're in 2015 and we're still dealing with racial issues. Okay, and it doesn't matter what the color of that student is. You do not slam and drag a student because she's on her phone. I don't care what color she is. And the guy is fired, but he should be also charged with assault and excessive force behavior, because that is not tolerated in America. No place. I don't care if you're from Wisconsin, North Dakota, all the way down to Texas, Miami 305, or LA. Okay, 305. Okay, or Maryland 301. All right. So it doesn't matter. Let's respect people. Let's respect every gender, every race, every culture, and let's live in peace and harmony like we're supposed to. All right. So that's my take on it. And I'm gonna see if he gets any charges brought on him. I know the lady the teenager will probably sue, and the lady that got in trouble with the school will probably sue the school department for being suspended for that as well. So we'll see what happens with this case. But man, can we just put the racial stuff alone? Because that's what they want us to do. They want to create a race war in America, and I've been saying this for 2 years now. They're going to create a race war in America, and they will implement martial law. And we're gonna see them start that in Chicago here soon. Chicago will be on military lockdown here in the coming future in 2016, most likely. So we're gonna see this thing, and then also they're gonna have a curfew on Chicago as well. Why do you think Oprah left? Why do you think Michael Jordan left? Why do you think all these big celebrities are leaving Chicago? Not because of the violence, because they don't live in the violent areas, but because Chicago and Illinois is going to be under martial law in the near future, and they're going to implement curfew in Chicago and all of Chicago. So they know the news. They know exactly what's coming. Oprah and all these people know it. They can't tell you because they've taken the oath, and they can't tell you these stuff, but you're going to see it very soon in 2016, how they're going to continue this race war, and they're going to continue all the things that they want to do for their agenda, because they know the end is coming. And the end of the freedoms in America is also coming to an end when they crash the dollar. So this is what's coming, and we got to get ready for it. We got to get ready to go to battle for Jesus Christ and for these end times. We need to be smart. We need to be on our feet. We need to be prayed up, and we need to be fasting and praying because we are in the end. And when we see this global reset here soon, that that the end of the dollar is coming, and things are going to get very rough for those who are not in Christ here in the very end. So it is what it is, and that is it. I'm powered by Eyes Open Media. I'm Currency 365. Peace.